Let's jump into the next top story, which is number 2. Mini pleb economist, no tax on tips. May 21st, econ territory from Simple Stacker. 24 comments, 2035 sats. Keyan, what's this?
Yeah, so Simple Stacker makes a few predictions on the No Tax on Tips Act that was recently passed by the Senate. I guess it unanimously passed, apparently, which is, I don't know how common that is, but probably not super common. But he makes a few predictions. What are because most of these things, they pass on the merits of the first order consequences, and usually the second and third order consequences are ignored. But I guess in the post he details a little more about what happens or what the bill portends. I guess the Treasury Department is going to list the occupations that are known to have tips, and so they'll be in that exclusion list. And occupations that claim tips to prevent abuse will be not allowed to claim no tax on tips. Basically, he says that some of the second order consequences will be lower wages for a lot of service workers because they'll be presumed to be making more money from their tips. There will be the expectation of higher tips. Being upset, lack of tips will increase. I can't see the post, so I'm going to go to the post so I can read it. As he lists off 3 issues. More jobs will be added to fit whatever definition of eligibility. So if part of what makes someone eligible for no tax on tips is that they serve drinks, for instance, you'll get drinks served to you perhaps in places you wouldn't normally, just so people can get eligible for getting this tax incentive. And then the wage suppression thing, which I already mentioned, he says like the third order consequence of that will be that there'll be minimum wage increases because a lot of bosses will not be raising wages because people will get more of their compensation from tips and will want more of their compensation in tips, but then that will be complained about, and there'll be statistics that show that their base wage is lower, and then so minimum wage will be raised. Anyway, just kind of fun to make these predictions well in advance of the consequences happening. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, he had undisciplined with the top comment. He said, nice predictions. I especially like the one about dirty looks for not tipping. Simple Stacker said, hey, so now you won't have to pay taxes for all the tips you receive on Stacker.News for your pod, right? Clint says, that's right, although I think we're well below the reporting threshold for yes. What do you guys think about it?
I was thinking about this last night, actually, because we were here pretty late. I got a burger from Burger Bar on the way home, and it was a pickup, and it gave me the option to tip. And I didn't do it. I'm sorry. I didn't do it.
Oh, no.
I didn't do it. And then but it's like, you're going to pick up the food. I think Justin Moon, he died on this hill, so I don't have to. He said, if I paid for it and I just walk up to a counter to go pick up my food, I'm not going to tip you. That's like his cardinal rule. Sometimes I do tip for pickups, but anyway, I didn't. And I had like the only pickup order there. And I was thinking to myself, like, they probably spit in my food. But not really that, but more of like, well, if I'm the one guy not tipping, it's almost like the floor has moved beneath me. I'm a bad customer. I'm no longer just a normal customer. I'm now a bad customer, and just like the floor has moved beneath me, and all of a sudden, subliminally or implicitly, I forget what you would say, like the responsibility to tip is on me, but I wasn't explicitly told that. And that's like kind of a bad dynamic. And like, since I used to work for tips, there's a lot of principal agent problem for like tipping, and when you're trying to work for tips, between getting paid less for your tips or doing things outside of the purview of your company to better serve your customers to get better tips. But it's good to not tax tips. They shouldn't be taxed.
I think it's not. I don't think they should be taxed. Oh, I like that. I mean, less tax is good. I think for as far as like tipping on pickups, I tip at Royal Blue. Anytime there's a tip screen, I just tip. I just do it because whatever the
You
like
just press the
lowest
button.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
I just do it because it's I don't want to have this. It's not worth the internal
conflict.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
conflict that you expressed. That sounded
Uh-huh.
that was like what, 5-10 minutes. It's now consumed. It's now carried with you into the next day. The significance of
Wow.
this.
Yeah.
Was it worth $5?
Yeah, I'm messed up.
I don't know. So I hit the button and I kiss the money goodbye.
You guys say something? What?
I think we should call it guilt tipping, instead of guilt tripping.
Yeah. Guilt tipping.
Guilt tipping.
I actually feel nothing when I press the no tip button.
I only do if they're a minority, maybe. If they're in
Wait, you
need.
feel no guilt if they're a minority? Let's
Wait,
get
no.
clarification here.
Well, so if they're white, I just don't tip them. And I don't
Okay.
look at them in the eyes.
Because
either.
they're privileged.
Yes.
Okay.
Um,
Because their ancestors were tipped already with slaves.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. They're living off of tips basically already. Like their whole existence.
History. Your history is your tip.
But
bro.
see, with Royal Blue,
Yeah.
it's like I go in and anyway, I'm gonna stop before I get in trouble.
Their people are of color at Royal Blue.
I even press custom to tip 10%. So I like add some friction to myself to tip less, but I still tip something. So I do feel like good about it.
I always tip on Stacker.News, even when someone insults me. I tip them, so that's a good culture.
Yeah. I think that's also, it does. I wrote about this on Stacker.News years ago where I had gotten so used to zapping and I thought it like sort of desensitized me to tipping generally.